I texted you afterwards and I was like, Steve, I just got 5 people to agree. What did you say?
Can you talk to 2 more?
Don't give up just because you've swung the axe once and hit the tree and you didn't see much bark fly off. You know, Keep going. You're going to have to keep going at it. Welcome back to the Growth Over Comfort podcast. I don't even know what episode number this is anymore.
We're moving though. Moving to 21.
I know that we just released episode 7 this week. We're like 3 or 4 more ahead of that in our editing queue. So I need to figure out what that is because I need to go back and make sure that we're not repeating ourselves, Steve, because you know, I'm at that age where I might be starting to repeat myself.
Some of the people that we're talking to will probably pick up on that and be like, I think I've heard that, but I don't know where.
Yeah.
So
maybe if we just change it each time a little bit, maybe it'll be okay. Maybe it won't be too bad. But thank you guys so much for watching, for listening, wherever you watch and listen to podcasts. We hope you guys are enjoying the show. We are enjoying doing it. Like Steve said, I don't think we've mentioned this. Our goal is to get to 21 podcasts, 21 episodes, because I heard from Alex Ramosi that if you want to be in the top 1% of podcasts, make it to 21 episodes.
Yeah, just making 21 episodes. I actually heard that this morning. You know, I was listening to that clip that he had, and I'm like, 21 doesn't seem hard.
Yeah.
But 21 also is something that you can easily quit before you get there because nothing goes the way that you would like for it to go. Right. You know, everyone has numbers in their head and things in their head that they would like for it to be. And then when those numbers don't show up, you're like, oh, it's not working.
Yeah.
But, you know, we decided before we started that we were going to do 100.
Yeah. Yeah.
So once we get to 100, we'll evaluate.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what's happening there.
21 is the first milestone. Just because of something that some guy said somewhere.
Oh, yeah. We'll celebrate 21. We'll be excited about 21, but we'll really celebrate 100.
Oh, yeah.
And then evaluate where we are at 100.
Yeah.
And we won't quit, but we'll adjust if we need to and move forward. Mm-hmm. So that's where we are.
And you know, it's so interesting thinking about that for a second because people look at like Joe Rogan. You hear people all the time be like, Joe Rogan just talks for a living and he's making millions. And I want to be like, do you see that episode number? Isn't it like 1,450 or something? I don't actually know what it is, but he has done it for so long consistently. And you want to say like, even if it was 2 a week, like how many years is that? And you want to be like, oh, he's an overnight success, or my dad.
Oh, he just showed up.
No, that's the thing. My dad said that. I was for Father's Day. Happy Father's Day out there.
Father's
if y'all are watching this a little late, it'll probably come out a month later. But my dad said, Joe Rogan, who's that guy? He came out of nowhere. And I'm like, no, he has been in the film industry for 30 years. Right. And, you know, you just don't know. He didn't know. So I told him, and he was like, oh, I didn't know he's on Fear Factor. I didn't know he's done all.
No,
so he's been around.
Yeah.
He has showed up consistently for that many days. And on his podcast, showing up consistently. How many of the first couple of 100 episodes has no one ever listened to? No one ever heard those.
And those are probably great. Yeah. That may be his best information.
Yeah.
Because that's the stuff that he was going through to get to where he's at now. So that may be the best information in his whole podcast sequence, but no one knows.
Right.
One of the things in that lane, the guy that's coaching me right now is Michael Burt, and Michael Burt has been coaching and leading on the high level for 30 years, and I found him. I discovered him.
Right.
Like, 6 months ago, I had no idea who he was. And he's like one of the leaders in the coaching industry and literally changing lives all over the world. And I had not even heard of him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is that possible?
Right.
Because he's in real estate, he's in coaching, he coaches some of the biggest real estate people in the world. I mean, he coaches some of the leading CEOs in the world. And I had no idea who he was. I didn't even know his name. But yet he stayed in it for so long that now everything's starting to spin. It's starting to show up.
Yeah.
And you're starting, if you follow anything, you'll find him along the way.
And, that kind of ties into exactly what I wanted to talk about today, because this is another quote that I heard from someone, but it's so good. If in front of you was a concrete wall, and I didn't tell you how thick it was, but on the other side of that concrete wall was $10 million. And then I handed you a sledgehammer. How hard would you go home that night? How hard would you be hitting that wall to get to that 10 million, right?
Yeah.
But every day, people are given opportunities to do just that.
Yeah.
And every hit is a win in the day, and they give up.
Yeah. John Maxwell has a deal where he calls it the law of five. And in his law in that, his description of that, he said, take an axe. He said, I'm telling you to cut down the biggest oak tree in your backyard. Take an axe and every day go out and just make 5 swings at the tree.
Yeah.
He said, eventually over time, the tree will fall.
Yeah.
He said, but if I tell you I need that tree cut down, he said 9 out of 10 times people will quit before they ever get there. It's the law of just staying in it and staying after it. And I think one of the most difficult things is understanding that it's going to be hard before you start.
Yes.
You know, all of what we're doing, I had no idea on the podcast. You did. It's the reason you didn't start podcasting. I had no idea that podcasts were actually difficult.
Yeah.
Like there's real work involved. There's real time involved. There's real money involved. There's all of these things. People don't just sit here and talk.
Yeah.
You know, there's all the stuff behind it that has to happen. And you knew that. Because you knew that, it was hard for you to get started. So I come along and I have no idea. And I'm like, we can start. This is easy.
You had that optimism.
Yeah, I had the optimism that just went along with, you know, the naive. You know, sometimes not knowing helps a lot, but it sure does help as you get into it to know, hey, this is going to be difficult. This is going to be more difficult than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
It's going to take me longer than I thought it would take me, but I'm in it until now. I'm in it until here.
Yep.
So it's all about, if you have a dream and a goal, go through the hard.
Yeah. A lot of people quit. A lot of people, they get a year in and they run into some big obstacle and they run into something massive that they feel like it's the point at which they say, the sacrifice that I have to make, I'm no longer willing to do that to make it a success, you know? And those people, it's that same, I'm seeing that image. It's so cliche at this point, but there's an image of a gold mine and 2 guys digging to it. And one guy is digging and he's at the very back of the mine and he's excited for it and he's so ecstatic. And the other guy is at the very end of the mine and he's about to hit the gold and he's got his axe over his back and he's given up and he's walking away when he was right there. So the point is, though, that and even getting back to like the whole sledgehammer theory is it just takes one win to get the momentum going. Just one win. I don't know if I shared this, but I think it was 2 weeks ago, last week, but I went up and down the warehouse district here in Coleman, and I just started going into every business and saying, hi, I'm Randy. I own Crema Video. We're upstairs in the warehouse district. I want to work with you on a video ad. And I went to 8 people, and 5 of them immediately, without me even trying to sell them anything, said, yes, let's do it. And I've been taking those meetings the last 2 weeks, and I cannot tell you the momentum that is built in my head, that is just like, it's got me on fire. And one of the fun things about it, and I said this earlier before we started, was I texted you afterwards, and I was like, Steve, I just got 5 people to agree. I said I got 3. I think in the text it said I got 3 people to agree. And you were like, what did you say?
Can you talk to 2 more? Is there 2 more out there that you can talk to?
Yep. And I was like, that's a coach for you. I know you just did all your reps and you're feeling good, but how are those muscles feeling? Can you get 2 more in?
Yeah.
And I did. I went and got 3 more.
Yeah. Which is incredible.
Something like that, yeah.
But the thing that I learned in coaching, and I learned this the hard way, some things you learn the easy way, some things you learn the hard way.
Yeah.
One of the best teams I coached as a head football coach, we were really good and we were playing well, and we played some teams that were not very good. We had like 4 teams that were not very good in a row, and we were very good. So the things that we had to do well in order to beat good teams, we didn't have to do well to beat the teams that we were playing. Our competition was not up to our level.
Yeah.
But those things that we had to do well still needed to be done well. Well, after the second week, they stopped responding to coaching. It was like, hey, we got this. We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I'll give an example that very few will understand. But we're running a play called the buck sweep, and it's a football play that everybody in football would know. So we're running the buck sweep. My tailback's supposed to plant his foot and cut up. Well, he was just bouncing everything out, running everybody to edge, and would go score.
Yeah.
Competition couldn't set the edge. They couldn't take care of what they needed to take care of, and we were fine. But what happened in that, after that 4th week, when I couldn't coach them anymore, we played a really good team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now, if he doesn't plant his foot and cut up,
It really matters.
we lose 6 yards instead of gain 4.
Yeah.
So it makes all the difference in the world. So the success that we had was detrimental to what we were trying to achieve.
Because you got comfortable.
we became very comfortable
Yeah.
and started relying on talent instead of work.
Yeah.
Started relying on talent instead of really pushing to do the right things. And sometimes talent will take you there, but talent will not keep you there.
Yes.
The hard work, doing things the right way is what actually keeps you on a certain level.
Yeah.
So being consistent in the things that you have to do outside of your talent to be great is what takes you there. So the next week after we got beat, we come back in, it's real easy to coach them.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, hey, if you'll plant your foot right here and get up, you see we've got about a 4-yard gain there and you lost 6. Yes, sir, I get it. And then we got practice and we do that. And then the next week we play a good team and we win.
He got humbled. Yeah. He got humbled by it. And then
I think success humbles a lot quicker than defeat.
yeah.
Success will humble you in ways that you can't understand because you think you're winning and you think you're fine, so you get comfortable.
Yeah.
And then you hit a literal wall and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's like bringing it back to the video getting clients example. You never stop getting clients because if you slow down getting clients, you stop growth. If you ever go, I'm probably fine. Like I've got, this many clients, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to take it easy this week or whatever.
Yeah.
There's going to be an issue and you're going to have churn and someone's going to leave and a client's going to, or a contract's going to fall through or something. And then you're scrambling to get things done. So that's a really good story. So what I would say to someone is don't give up just because you've swung the axe once and hit the tree and you didn't see much bark fly off.
Right.
Keep going. You're going to have to keep going at it. This kind of goes back to the power list. If you have on your list the things that you know is going to make today a win, and you keep checking those off, you have proof that you've won the day. And if you win enough days, then you can win the week, and you win enough weeks, you win the month, win enough months, you win the year. I've said that before.
Win enough years, you win your life.
Exactly. So don't give up just because you hit some hard things. Actually, you're supposed to hit hard things. Yeah. To get to the 10 million that's inside the concrete wall, you've got to fling it and you're going to break some stuff. Things are going to go crazy and chaotic, but isn't it worth it?
It's worth it all the time. And one of my favorite things that I've heard is, that the road less traveled is going to be hard. It's going to be rocky. It's going to be uphill most of the time. And Ed Milet says that there's going to be yield signs all over that road that tell you, hey, just get off here. There's no reason to stay on that road. That road's too hard. That road's too difficult. There's no reason to go down that road. Yet you end up, if you yield, your life is completely different than if you keep going, if you keep moving down the road that no one else is on. I watched the movie Air last night. I don't know if you've seen that,
No.
but it's about Nike signing Michael Jordan to his first shoe contract. And there was so many obstacles and so many things in that they could not overcome. They couldn't get past, but there was one person that kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing and kept believing and kept trying and kept believing and kept trying and kept pushing. And at the very end, they signed Michael Jordan to the shoe contract that literally changes Nike forever. One of the comments that they made at the end, they're talking to some of the original guys, and they're like, had we not signed Michael Jordan, we're not sure if there is a Nike.
Yeah.
We may have just been like a Reebok or a Puma
That's insane.
or someone like that.
He made that much of an impact.
He made that much of an impact on their company in what they were doing.
But there was so much resistance to making it happen in the beginning.
Unbelievable resistance. There was no way to get it done. Number one, he wasn't coming there. Number two, Nike was not even known as a basketball company. They were known, more in the running space.
Yeah.
But because that guy was willing to stay in it and fight for that, Nike is now a global brand that is one that's recognized like Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Everyone knows the swoosh.
Everyone knows the swoosh.
Yeah. It's that story of resilience. It's the story of continuing when everyone's saying no. And I think so many people give up after the first no or whatever. Like J.K. Rowling, who published all the Harry Potter books, she got, I think it was like 13 no's from publishers, which doesn't sound like a lot compared to like, a larger number. But when you're told 13 times your dream is not good enough, the thing you've worked on is not good and it's not going to sell,
right.
You're not going to do it because you're a woman. Like she was told that.
Right.
The reason she's J.K. Rowling and not Joe is because people were afraid that because she's a woman, author, she wouldn't be taken seriously. She met so much resistance, and she is now, I mean, she's a billionaire because she didn't give up. And more than that, she gave an amazing story to all of those people, to everyone, and, you know, literally breathed some fun magic into people's childhoods. Yeah. Which, you know, you can get on and on about the magic and the, you know, all the things.
Yeah, there are a lot of Harry Potter haters out there.
I know. We might have just segregated our.
Yeah, we may have just changed our audience.
Yeah,
but that's okay too.
It's fun. It's fun movies, fun books.
Yeah,
but and she's got a great story. But that story of resilience and not giving up on your dream, and even when people tell you no, time and time and time and time again, it almost is just like, so they're out. Fine. Check them off my list. Like, it's okay. I've got 50 more people I can go to.
Yeah. And Cindy will smile when I say this. You know, I've said this, you know, I'm a go do it first, ask questions about how to get it done and pay for it later. Cindy's an accountant, so she's a analytical, let's make sure we have all the details. Let's make sure that all the financial side of it's right, and then we'll go do it. So we mesh well at times, but then there are times like you can imagine the conversation because I'm like, hey, we're going to do this. And she's like, no, we can't go do that. And yeah, it's a little bit different. So going into the coaching space and transitioning into the new role in my life and the change, you know, it's uncharted waters for us. It's not uncharted waters for a lot of people because it's happening everywhere. And in every high level person has a coach.
Yeah.
All of them. You talk about high level executives, people that are trying to do something great, people that are trying to change their lives, people that are really trying to level up. All of those people have coaches in their lives, and they're changing and they're growing because of the coaches that are in their lives. But the neat part, you know, along this journey, there have been things that, you know, I'm going to do, and Cindy's like, you know, I don't know if we need to do that. You know, what if this doesn't work this way or if this doesn't work that way? And initially, it kind of offended me a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, you know, the one that I need to support me more than anybody else doesn't even see it and doesn't believe it is what's in my head. That's not true at all.
Yeah.
She loves me and supports me no matter what. And I know that, but when she's saying some stuff, it comes that way.
Yes.
So last night, you know, I said something because the deal with the Michael Jordan thing fired me up. I'm like, just stay in it. Let's go. Believe it before anybody else, and you'll see it. Let's go. Let's get after it. I know this is the right way. And she goes, well, let's see it first. And I literally inside smiled. I went, yeah, I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
So a complete mental shift because now I've been in it so far. I'm so far into it that I'm seeing things and realizing things, and I can see things in people's lives, and I can see different businesses starting to change because of the impact that I have.
Oh, 100%.
So it's making an impact.
Yeah, definitely. I would say you've made a huge impact in my life. And I know at least a couple of people who are watching this podcast, listening to it, you've definitely made an impact in their life as well. Cool. And it's just the beginning, you know?
Yeah, it is.
So speaking of coaches, we have exciting news. We have our first guest confirmed for the podcast.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, that's Coach Michael Burt's agreed to be on our podcast July the 9th. So we'll be going to record that episode on July the 9th with him in Nashville at the Greatness Factory. It's going to be a road trip.
Yeah, it is.
Growth over comfort's going on the road.
Yeah, we are. Tour.
So I'm really glad that I don't have to make all this work once we arrive there. I'm glad there are people that do that.
Yeah.
And Day, I hope, is coming because she can film that day. So she can be a part of the trip. So we can just have a whole team trip. So it's exciting. But what's really exciting about that, he is a leader in what he does. And there's so many people in the world that they just lost it. They were excited about life, and then time just started going by, and the next thing you know, it's years since they wanted to do anything different or wanted to go after anything or wanted to pursue anything. And he is the leading expert in the world at reigniting that drive in people. So I'm excited, number one, that he agreed to even be a part of what we're doing because he's the real deal. He's legit.
Yeah.
But I'm also excited for the people that listen to our podcast, especially those that are trying to get somewhere, that are trying to move, that are trying to do, because coming off of that podcast, you'll go, all right, I can do it. I can make it through.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm so excited for multiple reasons. And I'm interested to see what happens July 8th because it's like if July 8th something really bad bummer happens, I'm like, it's not going to even matter because tomorrow I'm about to get my world rocked and I'm going to be so fired up afterwards. I mean, I know I am. Like, I'm so stoked. And I mean, actually Anna's excited too because we love Nashville. We're gonna try and book a room somewhere and just go up and stay, and we got some friends in town too that we're gonna go see. Yeah. So I'm stoked because of so many reasons, but I've also wanted to have guests on and to have him on there as the first, like that's pretty huge.
Yeah. Once we get into that, and once there's some credibility that comes with that too.
Oh, 100%.
So we're not just Randy and Steve sitting talking.
Yeah.
Doing Growth Over Comfort podcasts now. Okay, that's Michael Burt.
Yeah, exactly.
I know who Michael Burt is. I don't know those other two cats, but that wasn't bad.
yeah, exactly.
So now when we make a phone call, and
sure.
he'll introduce us to people, and I mean it's literally an opportunity to change everything that happens with this.
100%.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. And speaking of that, the last thing I wanted to touch on before we kind of wind down is preparation. Mm-hmm. Because we talk about swinging the sledgehammer, we talk about making sure that we're trying to get through the wall and all of that, but there are things you can be doing, and even talking about your game where your guy needed to cut the corner correctly, preparation is the key to make that happen. Yeah. There's a Marine quote, it might be a Navy SEAL quote, and I'm going to butcher it.
Yeah, so you need to get it right. Those guys that come after us.
I know. I'm just going to say there is a quote from an elite military unit.
Let's go there.
And it is summarized by me saying that you never rise to the level of what you expect, your expectations. You always fall to the level of your preparation on any event. And we've talked about preparation. We talked about it with Alex Hormozy and his preparation and all that.
Right.
But talking back about swinging the axe up against that tree every day to knock it down, I believe there's another quote, and I'm just full of quotes apparently for today, but there's another quote that says, if you give me 8 hours to cut down a tree, I'm going to spend 6 hours sharpening the axe.
Yeah, the preparation piece of that is huge. And for me, just going into that, 2 weeks ago, I changed my diet completely. I'm completely locked in. My strength and conditioning regimen is completely locked in. And I read a lot, but I'm reading more than I've read in the past, just so that I'll be ready, because that is a real opportunity.
Yeah.
And I don't want to miss it.
Exactly.
One thing out of place, and we talk about this a lot on the podcast, but elite people really have no room for error.
Exactly, yeah.
They can't have a bad day. I have a family member that's a state trooper, and he's like on the leadership side of state troopers, and we were talking Monday, and I said, what's unique about your profession is you can't have a bad day. If you have a bad day, somebody dies. Yeah. Somebody ends up on national news. Yeah. It's a really big problem if you have a bad day. So you can't have a bad day as a leader because people are looking at you. You need to do the right thing as a leader. You can't have a bad day as just what you do on your daily job, because it's that important. You need to be there because it's elite, and you have to do it. And I thought, we can't afford to really have a bad day. If we're married, for our spouse, we need to make sure that we're handling ourselves the right way. There should be no room for error there either, because that's important. Biblically, it's the thing that sets us up to be successful. Yeah. So
I think that's
a big
great.
deal.
Yeah. So we're going to sit off camera and prepare for it, and we're going to be ready, and it's going to be an amazing day. And we got a few more episodes, like what, 1 or 2 more episodes to film before then?
We do.
So we'll talk more about it, I'm sure, as we go. But we're excited to have our first guest on, and we're excited to see other opportunities happen. And so thank you guys for watching it all, and thank you guys for being a part. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we wrap up?
The book's finished.
Yeah.
The book's going to release in July.
That's
excited.
July's just going to be a power month.
Yeah, July's the power month. Yeah. July's where everything shifts.
Where's the best place for people to stay updated on the book? Is that just your Instagram?
That's going to be here.
Just here on the podcast?
Yeah, Instagram. I'll talk about it. TikTok. I'll put out, some stuff as we go. Yeah. Facebook, there'll be a Facebook coaching page. So, we'll get all that stuff out.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So stay tuned to the Growth Over Comfort podcast. We'll get all that information. We'll put it in the links down below when the time is right. Exciting stuff coming, and I'm excited to be a part of it. Thank you, Steve.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Great day today.
Definitely. We'll talk soon. Thank you, guys.